Welcome to another episode of the Love Truth Leadership Podcast. In today's journey, we're diving deep into the heart of cultural diversity, spotlighting the rich tapestry of Thai culture, alongside its fascinating contrast with American life. With Larry joining us directly from Thailand, our focus is on understanding how these profound culture differences shape our mental health. Prepare to be transported across continents, comparing the community-centric, serene lifestyle of Thailand with the individualistic, bustling backdrop of the U.S. These distinctions offer a unique lens through which to view the impact of culture environments on our psychological well-being. Join Larry and I as we embark on this enlightening adventure, bridging worlds and uncovering the deep connections between culture and mental health together. Special episode. Larry is actually in Taiwan, and he's
Thailand.
Excuse me. That's a big difference, I guess. Thailand. It's early in the morning here, and I'm just rousing. So excuse me.
Yeah, and it's late here. It's 9 p.m. 9 p.m. my time.
So, Larry, what you've been experiencing over there?
Well, it's interesting about how much different we are, the Western versus Eastern culture. 50 years ago, I was in Taiwan for a couple of years, so I kind of learned some of the Oriental ways back then, and I could speak Mandarin pretty good back then. It's a little rusty now, but Thai is different. It's not much different than Mandarin, but cultures are similar. And the thing I noticed, I guess, is it's a me versus we. In Western culture, it seems more individualistic, more Western.
What can I get for myself kind of thing?
Yeah, more individual,
Yeah.
On prioritizing personal, autonomy, self-expression and achievement, where the Eastern is more of about we and more, communal, focused and fostering strong social bonds. So it creates a sense of being or belonging,
a stronger community
and support. Yeah, where we don't see that in the Western. Could that, if there was a fusion of both those, that might be a more holistic approach.
Yeah.
But, it almost required, the problem is when you grow up, you see life through certain glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Like rose-colored glasses, and your experiences are based on what you've seen and happened to your life. And that kind of formulates certain beliefs within yourself, which also, those beliefs dictate how you behave.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, in this culture, they're much more, like I said, group belonging. For example, when you go to a restaurant in America, everybody has their own individual meal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And maybe someone might taste it. I'll say, "Hey, Nick, can I have a little taste of your pasta?" And
I'll
say,
say,
"Sure," vice versa.
No, I say no every time. That's you wanted to try it, you should have ordered it.
Yeah. Especially the lasagna.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Where in Oriental culture, they share it. All the plates come out, and they usually put them in the middle, and then everybody grabs a little bit of everything, and they put it on their plate.
Yeah.
And that's how you do it. It's shared among the group.
Okay.
And that we don't do that in America.
No.
It's pretty rare. I mean, you might see it in a few Chinese restaurants, but typically everybody orders their individual meal,
Yeah.
And think of about a game. Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, sir. Yeah.
No, and like when playing a game, you know how some people score do the winning point or whatever, and everybody chooses that individual in America. Where in the Oriental, it's more about the team who won, not so much that the person is the one that hit the winning shot or
Okay. So there's no
no,
like major stars for the team and stuff like that. Like
no, it's different. Yeah.
So one player
And
wouldn't
I think I had
catch recognition. One player wouldn't like catch a whole lot of more recognition than the rest, is what you're saying? Or
yeah,
okay,
yeah, it's more of a we community. In a lot of sense, that's more, I think, more stabilizing in how you feel about yourself in life. With the individualism we see, and I see in the Western culture, I think that creates a form of isolation to some degree.
Oh yeah.
And I maybe see a lot more depression because of that. Where in the Asian culture, we don't see that as much. At least I don't observe it. And they don't do a lot of comparison. You know, social media, unfortunately, can be damaging because you see people at their best. They always post something where they look the best or doing something great. And so you start comparing, which can be pretty damaging. Where in the Asian culture, I don't see that as much going on. It's possible the younger generation, but definitely not the older. And they're not comparing. It's like everybody's on the same playing field. And it's not like, oh, this person has more than I do.
Yeah.
So I don't see as much envying and covet type behavior as we see in America.
Yeah.
And I think we could learn a lot. I've always told my kids growing up, I said everybody should go work in a third world country or just visit it for a while.
Yeah.
I think if I had to change the education system, I would say that everybody should do a semester or two in another country, helping them out. It just creates a better view of
benefit that we have in America, right? Because we definitely take what we get for granted.
Yeah, and then you're right.
So I mean, because like you can't drink the water over there, right?
No, I mean, it's not safe to drink out of the faucet. That's what they told us. That's no different. I was in Taiwan. I guess it depends what hotels you're at. Some of them maybe you can, but for the most part, we were told just drink bottled water. So or make sure you filter it. So that's what we do.
What's their infrastructure like? Do they have like a dedicated like sewer control and, you know, like trash control? Have you noticed anything like that at all?
Yeah, they have to indoor plumbing. It depends what part. I'm in Phuket, which is the more tourists, and so it's a little more upgraded.
Yeah.
Infrastructure. If we went north in the small towns, we probably would not see that. They probably don't even have indoor plumbing in some of their villages.
Yeah.
But where we're at, you know, there's pretty nice hotel chains. And there's no difference than in America.
Oh yeah,
for the most part. But there's some places where people are living in shacks or where they get what do you call that, sheet metal, and build these little huts and stuff.
Yeah.
There's some of that too.
So, do you think that they, you know, even though they live with less amenities than us, that they have a better like outlook?
You know, actually, it's interesting because I've seen some documentaries and they found people in these cultures where they don't have a lot of material. Frankly, they actually have a higher level of happiness, believe it or not, even though they don't have anywhere near the stuff that many Western people have.
Which I find is kind of like, how do we, like, that's kind of difficult for me to wrap my head around, that we are so privileged where we live and the fact that we sit here and can be completely miserable, you know, because I mean, that's something that just doesn't, it's hard for me to fathom that, the fact that that we don't live in a society that is, I should say, underdeveloped, right? And at the same time, we are living in this, like you said, isolation. We don't have a strong community outlook, and we don't have a connectivity like you're noticing over there in Thailand. It's so that kind of gives us an idea, of what does all this stuff really matter for us to have for our happiness? What's really important, right?
Yeah, I think Western culture is very much achievement oriented. Hey, get this, here's the goal, ball, and we do that in sports and our personal lives. And in the attempt to pursue those goals, what happens is that connection and bonding, that social network gets compromised, in my opinion. I mean, the key elements I see here in their lifestyle, I think makes a difference is first, the communal social support system is much more stronger, not only within the family, but with extended people and even strangers, much more willing to help each other. And that's one of the things I noticed. They are more willing to help people in need. And so that's one of the factors. I think the other factors is their faith. There's different faiths, but probably Buddhism is probably the bigger one here. There is some also Christianity, but their faith tends to create a good connection between them. They're food wise. They're not out. They don't have the money to go buy pre-prepared foods. Frankly, that helps them health wise.
Yeah.
So their diet's actually better because of that. And some of the people who don't have much means actually have to grow their own food. But here again, it's actually better for you.
Yes.
And they tend to go ahead.
No, so they're a little bit more connected because of the lack of convenience in that manner. Okay.
Yeah, if you don't have all these other distractions in life, of which we tend to have a lot more in the Western, then that puts you in a position where if you have that time, it's time spending fostering a better connection with each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now I haven't been here long enough to know how social media affects them. I'm sure they have.
Oh, I bet it's
Facebook and other stuff. No, they have it here, but
I bet not as much as a role though as we have here in the United States.
Right.
Yeah, I mean for sure.
And they're more physically active. It's interesting. I have yet to see any Thai person that's overweight. I haven't seen one yet.
Wow.
No, there's no obesity. If it is, I can't find it. I didn't see it. No, that's not true for the tourists that are coming in.
Yeah, right. No joke. Yeah.
But at the hotels and all the help, everybody is pretty thin. I mean, they eat and exercise and probably eat properly than we see, and much more so in the U.S. or first world countries.
So all this advancement that we hold on to kind of is like a drag almost on our state, right? On our well-being. Yeah. If we don't approach life in a healthier way, it's just one of those things where we can. Like I'll go back to that comparison. We have all these awesome amenities. I don't have to worry about the water that I'm drinking out of my house, all that stuff. But at the same time, it's living in what I would call wealth, general wealth, basically, right? And living in that wealth kind of spoils us and takes us away from what really matters, I think, right?
I agree. It takes away what really matters. I mean, what really matters is your relationships you develop with your family and your friends and just even strangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I think that's really, I think a lot more people from the United States need to see that and recognize what they have. I think if we did that, that bring out a little bit more of our understanding of how special we have it, and maybe give us a little bit more gratitude towards the way we live our life. So
Yeah, I was talking to.
go ahead. No, it's all you.
I was talking to a lady named Kim, and she was born in Vietnam, but they escaped, got out. Her mother somehow got away from the communist regime, went back in the 70s, and anyway, she grew up pretty much in the U.S. and she travels a lot, but she doesn't travel anywhere in Europe. She only does Asia. She says, I feel safer. I feel the relationships are better. I like the cultures. And she says they're different. You know, she's gone to a lot of different, she's gone to Laos and Vietnam and Japan and Korea and all those different cultures. And also Thai here is where I met her. And she says, I just like the different cultures and the way they operate their lives. She says it's much more connection, much more rewarding.
Now I know
it's interesting, but
yeah,
anyway.
it is really interesting. And you brought up something that I found is so I don't expect that you have quite the experience, but what do you imagine that the crime life is like over there from your experience?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine it's fairly low. I know I was sitting by a guy on the plane when we were flying to Singapore from LA and then Singapore up to Phuket. And he said it's one of the safest cities in the world. And Singapore's pretty big.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's millions. He said they have pretty strict laws. Like it's pretty, you know, if you're stealing or something, I don't know if they cut your hand off like they do in the Middle East, but he says it's pretty severe. But I got the impression it's pretty safe. My sister was telling me that when her niece lost her iPad at a train station in Japan, she didn't get back to that the next day, and it was still sitting there on the same place where she was sitting.
Yeah, I had a customer
no one had touched it.
who traveled to Japan, and she was telling me that she left her purse on a park bench and came back the next day and it was still there. So it's like that's something that is, I mean, that blows my mind, you know, because here in the United States, that'd be gone in a heartbeat and your credit cards would have to get canceled. And, you know, you might, don't get me wrong, there's honest people here and there's some people who probably would turn it in, but I would say it's about 70% of the people that would find it would have taken advantage, you know, maybe, have not been honest about it and have taken, you know, everything that they could have taken from it, and maybe have like turned the purse back in empty, you know, anonymously, I should say. Excuse my stumble on that word. But I was just looking it up.
Yeah, but they're more.
The population of Singapore is 5.45 million people in one city, and for the crime rate to be like relatively low, and for that to be this one of like the safest places that you can go to with that large a population, like that's hard to describe.
So yeah, it's according to this lady and other people said that they just have very little crime. There's very little capital crimes. So for the most part, people feel pretty safe. I mean, there could be areas that are sketchy, you know. But, but for the most part, it's very, very, very safe.
Yeah,
and I just like the way they show respect towards each other and towards us. They have a sense of humility. I feel they're very service oriented, helping each other.
Yeah, which is a big thing.
Here again, it's more. It's like I said, it's more of a we community versus a me community. You know, Western it's more me. Over here it's more we.
Have you been you've been traveling a lot as well, like by car and stuff, right?
Right.
Have you noticed any any, you know, road rage or any? How does
I haven't noticed that either.
And
And
the traffic's pretty heavy, right? Where you've been traveling?
that's pretty heavy, but no road rage. I mean, nothing like I see that we see in the Western states. It doesn't feel like someone's trying to squeeze someone out or rush and get somewhere before someone else. I just didn't get that feeling at all. And it's pretty heavy traffic, some parts of it.
Yeah.
And it's, by the way, it may have had British rule at some point.
I think so.
They ride on, it's the flip side here. It's like driving in England. So I got to imagine British had some influence on that. So you drive on the other side of the road.
Yeah,
So
I forgot. I think there's only a few countries that drive on the left side of the road as compared to the right.
Yeah. So yeah, they're and the cost here is pretty reasonable. I mean, some locals said it's been rising, but gee, I'll tell you, you can get a pretty phenomenal meal for $10.
Oh, no way, really?
Yeah, oh yeah, well, yeah. Tonight I had a sea bass over ratatouille.
Oh man!
And that was $10.
Jeez Louise!
I mean, U.S. I couldn't. It cost you more than that just to buy the fish.
Yeah, no kidding. Here you couldn't even buy 3 tacos. You know, like when we went to have tacos the other day, you had 3 and I had 3, and then I had a coffee, and you had water, and our bill was like $60. You know, yeah, it's just like, that's insane. Oh my God, yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, I'm giving you more of the resort price.
Yeah, that's
now if I go out in the country, it's half that.
Yeah.
So you'd have a full meal for $5.
It's amazing how far that money will stretch. And then again, it's all comparison, right? Like what they, in the money exchange, I imagine their money is a little, devalued compared to ours, but at the same time, that's insane that you can actually go eat a good meal and actually, a decent meal for $10. What would you rate that meal that you had?
Yeah, it was pretty nice. If I had that meal in the United States, that would have been minimum 35, probably.
Yeah.
Same meal, easy. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that would have been 3 times more.
So have you had any experience with like their traditional like practices? Their Eastern medicine. What have you seen any of that stuff?
I haven't gotten any clinic. I'm sure when I lived in Taiwan, that was the only option. There wasn't even a pharmacy. You'd go to these herbal places and they mix up a concoction, whatever, but it was ailing you. And they'd use that plus acupuncture. And I'm sure they have that here. I know we went into a pharmacy. I need to get something for my eyes, and I'll tell you, they didn't have a lot of medication on the shelf. Nothing like we have here in the U.S. So, but I assume they use that same type of stuff, more of a holistic type medicine for when they have problems. But
so do we say
they do?
Go ahead, Larry. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No. I'm just saying they have antibiotics and stuff like that.
Okay.
But you don't need a script to get it. We had a person come in because they got stung by jellyfish and they had an infection, and they bought what's called a Z-Pack. It's an antibiotic, and they didn't need any script for it. So they don't have the same barriers here if you need to get something.
So your initial perceptions of Thailand, like for the mental health value, Thailand versus United States, would you say the overall general happiness over there is a little bit greater than what we have?
For sure. Yeah, I was reading some stuff about Thailand, and they don't yell and scream, and they don't get angry. They don't have road rage or whatever like we see in the U.S. They just seem more calm and at peace. And they seem very generous and kind, not only towards us, but towards each other.
And I bet a lot of their anger or anything that they would have like dispute wise is a little bit behind like closed doors kind of thing too. If they're like, so say, husband and wife were a little angry, it wouldn't be displayed in public.
No, I don't think so at all. So I would say mindfulness comes to mind. They're more mindful of where they're at, and when they talk to people, they seem to be better at listening. I mean, there are some language barriers here a little bit, but they seem to work around it. So yeah, they're pretty good. And interesting, this is a side note, there are a lot of Russians down here. So finally, I asked a guy the other day why there's so many Russians. Actually, it was at church today. And he said they're one of the few countries that are accepting Russians to come into their country and get a visa. I don't know if you know, I didn't know this, but he said a lot of Russians are leaving the country. They don't want to stick around.
Yeah, I don't mean,
I don't know. Oh, yeah.
I don't know
too
much.
Out. And the problem is they what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know too much about what's going on in Russia, but I can imagine that that's a place I wouldn't probably want to live in, under that regime, I should say. But I don't know. I can see the benefit to that, for sure. Is especially, is there a lot of countries that allow Russians to immigrate to, as well? So
this guy told me today there's very few countries. He says it's really hard to find someone. He says, I moved here 2 years ago to get away from, Russia's turning into more of a dictatorship, and it's got obviously the war problem going on. And some of the Russians just said, hey, that's it, I'm out of here. And so he said that I said, I noticed that I'm hearing much more Russian, and when I'm out and about. And he said, oh yeah. He says there might a lot more coming here because Thai is willing to grant them a visa to come to stay there. So I didn't know that.
I did notice that whenever in the height, I don't think it's over yet, but in the height of the war that Russia, what was the country they were going to war with? And Ukraine. Yeah, I did see, like last winter, for example, there was a lot of Ukrainians that were coming in to the store to like rent skis from me. And they were here temporarily. And a lot of them were women from Ukraine who had fled to escape, while this was happening. Of course, these were people of wealth from Ukraine because they're coming to a very wealthy community that we live in here in Castle Rock. And so it's one of those things where that war has had an effect on both sides for sure. And I can just only imagine what, we view, and this is completely getting off subject, but what we view as the Russians, we look at them all as like bad, and forgetting that they're just people too, right? That are being led by a government that they really have no control over. Kind of like what we have here in the United States. We have a government that we elect officials into, but once we elect them in, we have really no control over what they do. So it's kind of it's a little disheartening. Government's a whole other story, though. We're getting a little bit off of there. So let's bring it back to what we're to Thailand there. So, Larry, what's the food like?
Oh, I've never been to a Thai restaurant that's like that. It's they have their curries type dishes. They're yellow, they're green, which is delicious, and pad thai and different type of noodles. And they integrate that with seafood if you want, or beef or chicken.
What's the favorite thing that you've eaten while you've been over there?
Oh, I like the mango sticky rice.
Yeah.
It's more of a dessert. I almost have one every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I pay $5 for it, $4 or $5 for a mango sticky rice. If people know what that is, it's mango with rice where they put a cream sauce with it. So
the rice is a very big staple of their diet too, huh?
Oh, big time.
Big time.
Probably third to all their carbs they get.
Yeah.
Probably rice.
So what?
Yeah, they don't.
What else?
I don't think they consume much bread. But go ahead.
What else have you done? Tell the listeners about the elephants that you've been getting to spend some time with. I bet they'll love to hear
we went to a place it's a place that had a bunch of elephants. We got to feed them, and then we would coat them with a bunch of mud, and then we put them in a pond, and then we scrub all the mud off. And after we did all that, we would go take them over to a shower and there again scrub them some more, and they just loved it.
Oh yeah.
And their favorite food's bananas, so we would feed them bananas. They consume hundreds of pounds of food a day.
That's a big animal.
How much they can? Oh my God, it's hundreds. I mean, mainly just bamboo and leafy stuff.
Are these elephants that you're spending time with? Are they like the orphan rescue elephants that you would see on TV and stuff, or what? Like
they're refugees, I guess it's called refuges for elephants. I don't know, but they, I don't remember where they got them. This one place probably had a dozen elephants. They even had a baby elephant. And they said, don't feed the baby because the baby was still nursing.
Uh-huh.
But they're all pretty gentle. I mean, there was no problems whatsoever. And then the other day, I actually got on top of one. It's kind of tricky to get on this, but they trained this one to kneel down so you could get on it.
Yeah.
And it got itself back up.
That's pretty cool.
You got to have a pretty good sized ladder to get on top of them.
No joke.
So we've done that. And then the islands, went out canoeing, went through some caves in Tri-Island, and then the sand here. I've never seen sand. It's almost like a powder. It's like a white. I mean, it's the finest sand I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's white and it's very, like I said, it's almost a powder state, close to it.
Would you recommend people go and visit then, is what I'm asking. I bet you do, but I want to hear it from you.
Oh, I would say do that. We haven't visited tigers yet. There's a place you can go pet tigers, but obviously the elephants are a big thing here, and I would go to the different islands, and snorkeling and scuba diving are big here too.
Yeah.
And those are probably, and some hiking, very good hiking. And
there's correct me if I'm wrong, but is there rainforest there too? I mean, I think
is there a what? Rainforest?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But we're not in the rainy season right now. That's why the tourism is probably so high. This is the height of the tourism is these months right now. There's not as much rain. Rain starts probably more, I think, in April-ish, I think, through August, and it gets hotter and humid. So then that's not as popular. It's very wet.
Well, I mean, hotter and humid, it's what did you tell me earlier? It was like 90 degrees.
Well, right now, during the day, it gets around 90.
Uh-huh.
And then during the night, it gets low 80s.
Yeah,
so,
that's like
the killer is the humidity.
Oh, yeah.
Not so much. That's the point. And 90 degrees is okay if the humidity is low. 90 degrees with high humidity, yeah, that's tough.
There's like 5 different rainforest parks or sanctuaries in Thailand, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce all their names because I would have to sound these out. And oh man, those are some names for sure. And I think don't orangutans originate from Thailand as well?
Yeah, they might. We haven't been to a zoo, so we're going to go check one out probably. Maybe tomorrow or the next day, but they may have those too. They have a lot of monkeys, though.
Oh, okay. No, they're from Indonesia, actually. That's where they're in Malaysia.
And Malaysia. But yeah, there's a lot of, they're definitely got monkeys, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So have you gotten to experience like any like of their religion over there, or Buddhist temples
No,
or
we're going to
anything?
go. Actually, we've seen them, but that's tomorrow on our ticket. Actually, to go visit some temples and some Buddhas.
Okay.
So we were told we just didn't get a chance this last week, so we're going to go check that out. So yeah, they got some pretty nice, what you call temples, sanctuaries that they have around, and this one region has quite a few. So that's where we're going to go tomorrow.
I think that'd be really
Check it out.
interesting to see. For sure. That's a religion that's really, that I've been very curious about in my life is Buddhism. It's because of the way they practice, oneness and stuff. It's and meditation and I don't think I've met a few Buddhists, and I don't think I've ever met one that's been, how should I say, came off in a displeasing way. They all seem to be very, very genuine and nice people. So
very authentic.
Yeah. But how much longer are you out there?
Another 10 days.
Also, we can do another episode from Larry's recap experience from Thailand.
Yeah, we could do a recap. That's right.
That'd be
another week.
Yeah, if we get another weekend, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be really cool, I think. What else do you have planned? Are you going to go to like any of the like lower developed areas, do you think? Are you going to go tour around and maybe go to like any of their open markets or
Yeah, we're going to go to some more open markets, and we're going to go to some areas that probably economically are not as affluent.
Okay.
We're going to go to some couple national parks, I guess you'd call them, and visit some more parks with animals,
mm-hmm.
and a place with flowers, and botanical garden area. We're going to go see one of those. And
well, I am vicariously learning from your experience, Larry. I'm really excited to, whenever you get back, to sit here and really grill you about what you've experienced while you've been over there, because I do want to travel to a lot of the more Eastern countries, that's for sure, and just enjoy that culture, because just like you've explained, they seem to have a little bit more of a connectivity that I think we lack here in the United States, which really, really seems to really help with their mental health and their, wanting to treat other people nicely, not compare themselves to others, not, live in this state of what can I get and who can I, screw over to get it. Faithfulness and loyalty and all that kind of stuff seems to be something that is inbound in their culture, is intertwined, I should say, and how they choose to live their day to day. And that's something that I really, really want to experience for myself. So I do, like I mentioned to you, I do plan to start some travels and go experience that for myself. But through you, I'm going to live vicariously for a little bit. That's for sure. And I hope you're having a great time over there. It sounds like you are.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Larry was
that's awesome.
Lucky enough to have somebody cancel a trip, so he got to fill in, which is pretty awesome, but unfortunate for the person who had to cancel.
Yep.
So anything else you want to...
It's been great.
Talk about?
I'd just say the lesson learned is, meditate more, people, mindfulness.
Yeah.
I think try to think more about paying it forward, trying to help other people, and cultivating gratitude. I think paying forward does help generate more gratitude and maybe studying Eastern cultures.
Yeah, and remember that.
Go to ChatGPT and ask them, hey, what can I do to learn more about this? What were you going to say?
Well, and remember that here where we live in the United States, we have it made. in comparison. Now, granted, our food is extremely expensive compared to other places in this world, and stuff like that, these little negatives. But at the same time, we have the availability to go somewhere and not have to cook, and it sounds like a lot of the places over there where you're able to go to a restaurant, but a lot of the people that you'd probably run into in Thailand, for example, they cook their own meals a lot of the time, and it's probably a lot healthier meal than what we eat here in the United States, and a much healthier portion as well. And
yeah, for sure.
At the same time, while we have all these luxuries, remember that we can still be a community too, and we can still be in it for other people rather than just being in it for ourselves. I think that's a big takeaway from today's episode, is that it seems like in Thailand, Larry, you're experiencing the fact that these people are in it for each other, and they realize that they're as strong as their community is, and they're as strong as their neighbor is, and stuff like that. And so if we can maybe embody a little bit of that here where we live, I think we'd be a little bit of in a better state. We wouldn't see a lot of the mental health epidemics that we have here in the United States.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, I agree.
Well, I'm looking forward to talking to you next Sunday, Larry, and seeing what else you've learned, especially if you get to go to some of the lesser developed areas of Thailand. That's something that I would want to really learn about for sure, and I hope you do. But I mean, if not, it's not a big deal. I bet you're getting quite the experience that you can share with our audience for sure. And I really appreciate you making the time, because it's 9 p.m. over there. It's past your bedtime, sir.
I'm getting there.
and looking forward to learning more about what you're experiencing. It's quite an awesome thing.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think we'll sign off for now.
Heck yeah. So I'm Nick.
I'm Larry.
And this is the LTL show. Thank you guys for listening. And take it away, Larry.
Okay.
No, well,
have a grateful day.
Yeah, there we go. All right, sir. Thank you for joining us on today's episode, where we explore the cultural contrast between Thailand and the U.S. and their impact on mental health. Larry's insights from Thailand have been invaluable, shedding light on how our surroundings influence our psychological state. Leadership is not just a title, but the profound expression of the love and truth we bring into the world. In keeping with this spirit, don't miss our next episode, where we'll continue unraveling the effects of cultural diversity on mental health. Expect more in-depth discussions, compelling stories, and expert perspectives as we dive deeper into this important topic. Thanks for listening to Love Truth Leadership. Stay tuned for more enlightening conversations. See you in the next episode. And as always, Larry and I greatly appreciate you.